My family excluded me from my sister's wedding, so I disappeared to Greece, only to watch her big day unravel in betrayal and tears. Stop being dramatic. It's just one day, my mother insisted when I found out I wasn't invited. So instead of dwelling on it, I booked a trip. Days passed, and my phone stayed silent. No call, not even a text. It was my cousin Lindsay who accidentally spilled the secret at a family barbecue, 3 months before the wedding. She casually asked, excited for Bella's big day, while flipping a hot dog, completely unaware she'd just dropped a bombshell. I blinked. What big day? She laughed, thinking I was joking. The wedding? I forced a smile and muttered something about checking on the potato salad, which really meant sitting in my car for 10 minutes, trying to process how my world had just tilted sideways. My younger sister Bella, always the family favorite, was getting married, and I hadn't even received a save the date. I shouldn't have been surprised. My whole life, I played the reliable, invisible older brother while Bella basked in the spotlight. Dance recitals with front row seats, lavish birthdays with horses and bounce houses, even a semester abroad in Florence, all funded by our parents. The same parents who told me, at 17, that college wasn't affordable. So at 18, I stocked shelves full-time to help cover our utility bills. But this, being shut out of her wedding, hurt in a way I wasn't ready for. It wasn't an oversight. It was deliberate, cold, and humiliating. I kept it together during the rest of the cookout, making small talk and smiling as though nothing had changed. But inside, I felt like I was watching strangers through a glass wall, a family that had moved on without me. That night, I sat on my bed, phone in hand, before finally calling my mom. She answered on the third ring, cheerful as ever. "Hey, honey." "Hey," I said. "Quick question. Is there a reason I wasn't invited to Bella's wedding?" There was a pause, then the faint clink of a spoon against a mug. "Oh, that? Yes. That." She sighed. "Well, Bella wanted something small." "Small?" My voice cracked. "You invited 40 cousins." I counted. She sighed again. "Look, don't make this bigger than it is. It's just one day. I don't know what I expected, maybe an apology, or at least some empathy. But all I got was that same dismissive tone I'd heard 100 times before. The tone that said, stop making this about you. I was 32, but I felt like I was fading from my own family's story. I thanked her, hung up, and lay in the dark for a long while. But something shifted in me. I was done. Done being the dependable one who showed up, paid my share, and stayed silent. If they wanted me gone, I'd show them what that really looked like. So I booked a trip. First class, cliffside villa, Greece. And that was only step one. I told no one. Not my family, not even my coworkers. I requested time off, packed light, and slipped out like a magician in a puff of smoke. 1 week before Bella's wedding, I landed in Athens, then hopped a small plane to an island I couldn't even pronounce. And let me tell you, if you haven't landed in Greece at golden hour, you're missing something close to spiritual. My villa clung to the cliffside like it belonged there, white walls, blue domed roof, and a plunge pool overlooking the Aegean. I didn't even take my shoes off. I just dropped my bag, grabbed a bottle of water, and stepped onto the balcony as if I'd lived there forever. And standing there, I felt something I hadn't known in years: peace. Real peace. Not the kind you fake while smiling through family gatherings. Not the relief from finally paying off your car. This was deeper. The kind that wraps around you in sea air and sunlight and whispers, you don't owe anyone anything. And right then, I didn't. I stayed offline the first day, just soaking it in. But on day 2, I posted a photo, no caption, no tag. Just me, standing on the deck at sunset, sea glowing lavender and gold behind me. A glass of wine in hand, a small smile, and I hit share. The response was instant. 3 dots appeared in the family chat, mom typing, then gone. Bella saw the post but said nothing. Lindsay sent a fire emoji. My aunt commented, living the dream. I replied to no one. Instead, I booked a sunset kayak trip. By day 3, I was eating freshly caught bass at a restaurant so good I nearly cried into the tzatziki. I posted that too. Just the plate and the view. Let them put the pieces together. I never once mentioned the wedding. No names, no digs. That would have been too obvious. I wanted them to feel my absence, not because I said anything, but because I didn't. I knew what the wedding looked like back home: pastel dresses, monogrammed napkins, and carefully staged photos of a picture-perfect family. But in every shot, there'd be a space. No brother of the bride. No sibling toast. Just an empty gap where I should have been. Let them notice. Let them wonder. I didn't care anymore. I was done waiting to be included. This was my life, and I'd live it, even if it meant going solo. Then, 3 days after the wedding, my phone rang. It started at 7:12 a.m. Greek time. The buzz on my marble nightstand jolted me awake, that weird vibration that always signals something big. Mom, missed call. Then another from Aunt Carol. Followed by Uncle Mark, Bella's friend Rachel, and even Dad's new wife, Donna. People I hadn't spoken to in ages, suddenly blowing up my phone like I'd hit the lottery or gotten arrested. My mind jumped to worst-case scenarios. Had someone died? I unlocked my phone. 23 missed calls, 7 voicemails, and 4 texts that all said versions of "call me now." Then Lindsay's message finally explained it. Holy crap, have you seen this? It's everywhere on TikTok. I frowned. TikTok? She sent a link. A 47-second video posted just hours before. The blurry thumbnail showed what looked like a reception hall covered in confetti, and a woman in white. I hit play. Chaos. Screaming. Guests rushing out. A bridesmaid hurling a bouquet, not sweetly but straight at someone's face. Then the camera caught Bella, sobbing, shouting at another woman. One I recognized but couldn't place until someone in the clip yelled, "That's the maid of honor." I rewound. Watched again. Sabrina, Bella's best friend. The groom tried to calm them, hands raised, as his new wife and another woman tore into each other in front of 150 stunned guests. Despite the noise, I caught the words. "He said he loved me, Bella. You snake. You were supposed to be my friend. We slept together while you planned this wedding." I sat frozen, phone in hand. Bella's wedding hadn't ended with sparklers and dancing, but with betrayal, screaming, and a viral bridesmaid brawl. The video had already racked up tens of thousands of views. And now my family was calling, not to apologize for cutting me out, but to beg me to come home. By noon, the calls had gone from frantic to pathetic. Mom had left 6 voicemails, each more desperate. One stood out. Her voice cracked as she said, "Daniel, please, your sister's a wreck. We need you here. The whole family's falling apart. You don't understand what this has done to us. To us. Not to Bella. Not for the bride whose wedding exploded into chaos, but to the family's image." Meanwhile, I sat barefoot on a sunny terrace, sipping Greek coffee while the waves murmured far below. The scene was almost cinematic, my mother's breaking voice pouring out of my phone while I watched the sea stretch endlessly into peace. Fresh bread with my hands like a child, savoring every bite as if it were my first real meal. I laughed with strangers, danced a little too late into the night with a local band playing songs I didn't understand, and felt more at home among people I'd known for minutes than I ever did at my family's dinner table. Each day, I grew lighter. The weight I'd carried for years, of obligation, of unspoken resentment, of playing the reliable ghost, began to peel away like old, dead skin. I didn't need to answer their calls. I didn't need to explain myself. For once, I wasn't the background character in someone else's story. I was the main act in my own. By the time my trip was nearing its end, I realized something even deeper. I wasn't just avoiding my family, I was reclaiming myself. The person who deserved peace without strings attached. Who didn't have to earn love by being useful. Who could be whole without applause or approval. On my last night, I sat on the villa's balcony again, watching the horizon melt into velvet darkness. My phone buzzed on the table beside me. Another message from Bella. "Please, Dan. Just come home. I need you." I read it. I let the silence sit between us like a wall. And then I turned off my phone completely. I raised my glass one last time and whispered, "Let them feel it." Because finally, I wasn't afraid of the quiet anymore. I had made peace with it. And for the first time in my life, I was truly free. honeyed cheese on a balcony with strangers who quickly became brief but delightful acquaintances. I didn't bring up my family. I didn't need to. As I looked around at this life I was quietly building, calm, beautiful, and entirely my own, I realized something simple but profound. I had never felt happier. Not because I ran away from them, but because, for the first time, I'd stopped performing for their approval. About a week after the wedding fiasco, the stories began to trickle in. Not from my family, of course, but from people orbiting around them, friends, distant cousins, even my mother's old coworker who somehow followed me on Instagram. They arrived softly, like whispers on a warm breeze. Did you hear what went down at Bella's wedding? I saw the clip. Unbelievable. She looked shattered, man. Groom took off before they even cut the cake. And underneath it all, the same subtle question. Why wasn't her brother there? It spread naturally. Turns out when you've been the reliable one for so long, your absence makes more noise than your presence ever did. They'd spent years painting Bella as the perfect bride, the golden child. But when her fairy tale crumbled in front of 150 guests, and she stood alone in the wreckage, there was no big brother there to steady the scene. People noticed, not because I said a word, but because I wasn't there to help prop up the illusion. And I didn't gloat. I didn't comment. I didn't even nod when people brought it up, because I didn't have to. They connected the dots themselves. The same people who once called me distant, too serious, always doing his own thing now whispered. I get why he stayed away. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was just reality. And for once, I was finally visible. It's strange how that works. For years I was the background figure, the one taking the family photo, never in it. The one who stayed behind to clean up after everyone toasted to a great evening. The sibling whose birthday got a lazy group text, if it was remembered at all. But now, suddenly, people couldn't stop mentioning me. Not because I made noise, but because I stayed silent. Meanwhile, back home, the wedding fallout continued to ripple. The video gained traction, not viral, but enough that Bella's social scene cringed on her behalf. Unfollows happened. Bridesmaids quietly deleted their reception selfies. It wasn't just the fight that embarrassed them. It was the public exposure of a carefully curated image imploding in real time. And through it all, the one person who could have defended her honor wasn't there. And while she scrambled to salvage what she could, I sat under the Greek sun, savoring baklava, my linen shirt fluttering in the breeze like even the wind wanted to pat me on the back. I didn't post often, but when I did, the timing was deliberate. A photo of me swirling wine while Bella's comment section turned sour. A sunrise hike captioned with a single word, freedom. No direct shots. No tags. But the message was loud enough. My mother's texts shifted again, from begging to bargaining. Your sister's really struggling. Maybe just call her, even for 5 minutes. She keeps asking if you're okay. This family needs you. Please come home. It almost made me laugh. Where was this compassion when I sat excluded? When Bella unwrapped lavish gifts while I got a card with no cash and a stiff smile. I didn't block the messages. I just didn't reply. Instead, I extended my trip. A week became 2. I found a small island few tourists knew, rented a simple studio that smelled of salt and fresh plaster. Shopped at the morning market, learned how to ask for coffee without sugar in broken Greek. The baker on the corner began greeting me as, my friend, every morning, a wink included. And for the first time in my entire life, I wasn't running from anything. I wasn't hiding. I had simply arrived, finally meeting the version of myself who didn't have to fix, perform, or apologize. Just a man beneath a fig tree, breathing easy at last. Then, late one night, nearly 2 weeks after the wedding disaster, my phone lit up again, Mom's name. I let it ring twice before I finally answered. Daniel, she said softly. Hi, Mom. Silence. I could hear her breathing, like she was searching for the right script but couldn't find it. She's not doing well, she admitted. She won't leave the house. Barely speaks. I'm sorry to hear that, I replied, and I meant it, mostly. I just wish you were here, she added, voice thin. I looked out at the dark window, the faint clinking of wind chimes from a neighbor's balcony. I was there for years, I murmured. You just didn't notice me. She didn't argue. She didn't deny it. That silence? It was the most honest thing she'd said in a long, long time. Are you coming home? She asked quietly. I smiled faintly, my gaze drifting back to the tranquil Aegean Sea. No, I said. I think I'm finally home. The next morning, I strolled barefoot to the beach. No missed calls, no flashing notifications. Just waves curling over the sand, steady and indifferent. I stood at the shore, feeling the water cool against my feet, and realized something I hadn't known I was missing. Lightness. No more proving myself to people who only valued me in absence. No more waiting on apologies that would never come. I didn't need to set fires. I just had to stop crossing bridges that always led me back to pain. As the sun rose warm and golden over the sea, it hit me fully. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't anger. It's peace. And I was only getting started. Thanks for watching and diving into this wild family drama with me. If you enjoy Reddit family sagas, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.